morning and welcome to ABC News Ghana. This is ABC Headlines. I am KHADIJAH ISSIFU. Coming up in the headlines. Constitutional Review Committee has presented its report to President Mahama, proposing sweeping reforms, including an extension of the presidential term of office from 4 years to 5 years. Foreign Affairs Minister has dispatched a Ghanaian mission to Latvia to commence investigations into the alleged murder of Ghanaian student Nana J. Asia. We have these and many more coming up shortly. Do stay tuned. Time this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at ABC News GH _. Now to the details. The Constitutional Review Committee has proposed an extension of the president's office from 4 years to 5 years. Strengthening governance. The chairman of the committee, Professor Prempeh, disclosed this on Monday, December 22. The committee presented it to the president at the Jubilee House. According to Professor Prempeh, the proposal is intended to create a more stable governance framework adequate to design, implement, and consolidate long-term national policies without the constant pressure of frequent election cycles.
Eminent persons that we met, including some who have occupied your seat, that the 4-year term was short. It was too short, and we also then learned that the emerging global norm was 5, and that even in the region, we in Nigeria have the lowest. I mean, 4 is pretty low. So we're proposing an extension by 1 more year. We have coupled that with certain recommendations on in the area of campaigning, because the claim was that the president takes about 6 months or so to set up, and then 1 year campaigning and all of that. So we thought, okay, so if we then follow the example of other countries in Africa, including Senegal, where there is a definite campaign period before which you cannot do electioneering, you can't put posters, can't put billboards, can't do jingles, can't do rallies. So it's like the fishing season. You have to open it before you can go fish. So we are proposing a campaign season, a short one, so that government will have time to govern, and that the people we elect to do the government's business will really have time to focus on governing as opposed to doing campaigning. So for the first time, we hope, if this is accepted, that we will have a political or electoral environment where campaigns we do not run 24-hour, 24/7, 4-year campaigns, but where there is a definite period before which parties and candidates may not do campaigning. We think that would free up time for governing. But I think some of the changes we've also made in the area of appointments, I think will also unburden the presidency and also allow the president to focus more on the real business of governing as opposed to.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Constitution Review Committee, Professor Henry Kwesi Prempeh, has said that proposals for a 3rd presidential term found no support during the committee's work. According to Professor Prempeh, the committee carefully examined the Constitution to determine whether there was any basis for justifying a 3rd term for a sitting president. That review, he said, yielded nothing.
There isn't. Yeah, we couldn't find a place for a 3rd term for the president. So you know, we looked and looked, we couldn't find. I mean, we realized that the president himself doesn't like it. You know, nobody really seems to like it. There wasn't much of a demand for it at all. The only thing about that was the invitation for us to clarify ambiguity, and we didn't even want to go there. We didn't think that 66.2 raised any issues in terms of ambiguity, so we kept it the way it is. The reasons.
The Constitution Review Committee has the creation of a standalone Ethics and Corruption Commission as part of proposed reforms to strengthen Ghana's anti-corruption architecture. Presenting the committee's final report to President John Dramani Mahama at the Jubilee House on Monday, December 22, the committee's chair, Professor Kwesi Prempeh, said the recommendation seeks to rationalize the roles of existing anti-corruption institutions and improve efficiency in the fight against corruption.
We want to take some of his powers so that the oral will be done by some other body next time. So what we are proposing there is that because of the system we run, where we don't have a career civil servant being Attorney General, we think that raises challenges when it comes to prosecuting political corruption and other issues affecting politically exposed persons. So we are proposing an ethics and anti-corruption commission that can be cobbled together from some of the agencies we already have. So SHRAJ has some anti-corruption work, not prosecution. We think SHRAJ can just focus on human rights and ombudsman work. There's plenty of that for SHRAJ to do. So we will take SHRAJ's anti-corruption mandate, couple that together with what probably the OSP and other agencies currently do, and then create out of that mix a new commission, which would then handle cases of corruption, so that the AG can be freed to do, the international arbitration and the big constitutional cases. And
still on this, President John Dramani Mahama has announced plans to set up a committee early next year to implement the recommendations of the Constitution Review Committee. Speaking after receiving the committee's final report in Accra on Monday, December 22, President Mahama said some members of the committee would be invited to serve on the implementation panel to help transfer institutional knowledge into the process. He emphasized that the government will first study the report carefully.
Having had the experience of constitutional review committees before, and the fact that at the end of it we had been unable to agree how to move the process forward, this time we said let's choose the committee very carefully, so that it's a committee that Ghanaians have a trust in, so that when the report comes it would be non-partisan. It would not have been influenced by any political interest, so that it will make it easier for all of us to come together and move the process forward. Our 1992 constitution has served us very well. I mean, it's been the most durable constitution, but a time comes when you need to look at it and make some adjustments so that it can serve us for an even longer period going into the future. The committee had the opportunity to give me a presentation of some of their recommendations before, so I'm not as shocked as some of you who are sitting here who are hearing them for the first time. And so I want to thank the committee for that presentation, and then also for the teaser you just gave. I'm sure tomorrow the newspapers are going to be headlined with the teasers that Professor Prempeh gave us. So you can take a rest after working so hard for so many months. You can enjoy your Christmas, and as soon as we resume early next year, we're moving from the constitutional review process into the implementation process. And so early next year we would announce an implementation committee, and of course we're going to call some of you to come and serve on that committee, because we need that institution.
Away from that, Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has assured the family of the late Ghanaian student Nana Ejie Shia of the government's commitment to pursue justice following his tragic death in Latvia. In a post on X on Monday, Ablakwa disclosed that he earlier invited the family to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to personally convey his condolences. The Northong MP said he briefed the family on steps taken so far by the ministry in response to the incident. According to the minister, a fact-finding mission was promptly dispatched from Ghana's embassy in Germany, which holds concurrent accreditation to Latvia, to gather first-hand information on the circumstances surrounding Nana J.'s death. He said the team has since submitted a preliminary report to the ministry, adding that Latvian authorities have confirmed that investigations into the case are ongoing and have not been concluded. Ablakwa further informed the family that he has formally notified the Latvian government of his intention to travel to Latvia to engage his counterpart and interact directly with investigators handling the case. He noted that his delegation to Latvia will include representatives of the Nana J.'s family to ensure transparency and direct family involvement in the process. The foreign minister added that the government of Ghana will also engage independent experts to analyze all investigative reports, particularly the expected final report from Latvian authorities, to guide the country's next steps. In more news, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has charged the leader of the Liberal Party, Percival Kofi Akpaloo, and his spouse with fraud and money laundering. Speaking during the Government Accountability Series, that the Attorney General said investigations by his office found that Kofi Akpaloo and his wife were involved in various criminal offences, including stealing, forgery and money laundering, and will be formally charged when the office resumes after the Christmas break.
Bank Ghana Limited conducted an internal investigations and corroborated the fraud allegations that we have made, concluding that Akpaloo knowingly misrepresented ownership of the checks and deposited them into the wrong account. The bank acknowledged operational failures in detecting the discrepancies between the check payee names and the account numbers. The suspects who have been investigated are Percival Kofi Akpaloo, Poma Ghana Limited, the Poma with the H, and Delvin Akpaloo, his wife. That is the spouse of Kofi Akpaloo. It's fast becoming fashionable to commit crimes with spouses these days. The evidence shows that they engage in various criminal offenses, including stealing, forgery, and money laundering. And they will be charged by my office, again, as I said, upon resumption of work.
Still on the Government Accountability Series, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has announced that the government will prosecute Wontumi Farms and their directors for allegedly defrauding Exim Bank, committing forgery, and causing a financial loss to the state of exceeding 24 million Ghana cedis. Speaking at the Government Accountability Series on Monday, 22 December, Dr. Ayine revealed that the company and its CEO had purportedly forged a receipt to mislead Exim Bank into believing they had complied with the conditions of a loan.
On March 18, 2018, Chairman Wontumi submitted a receipt from a company known as Kasama Enterprise for the purchase of the equipment in the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis. However, the equipment purchase as shown on the receipt included bulldozers and excavators. Our investigations established that Chairman Wontumi had approached Kasama Enterprise, an industrial equipment dealer, and obtained an invoice with a promise to return to purchase the said equipment. He never went back to purchase the equipment. Instead, and this is where the criminal enterprise began, he forged the invoice he obtained from Kasama Enterprise by removing the word invoice and replacing it with receipt. This forged receipt was then submitted to Exim Bank as proof that he had purchased the equipment after the disbursement of the loan facility. The owner of Kasama Enterprise confirmed to investigators of the Economic and Organized Crime Office that the only document he issued to Wuntumi Farms Limited through Chairman Wuntumi was a pro forma invoice and not a receipt. He stated that after he issued the invoice, he never heard from Chairman Wuntumi again despite repeated follow-up calls. The forged receipt submitted to Exim Bank suggested that Kasama Enterprise acknowledged receipt of the sum of 4 million Ghana cedis for the purchase of earth-moving machines and farming equipment.
Now, away from that, Atlantic Lithium Limited, the Africa-focused lithium exploration and development company, has submitted a revised mining lease for its flagship Ewoya lithium project to Parliament. The lease has now been referred to the Parliamentary Select Committee for review, marking a key milestone in the project's journey toward ratification. Lithium, a critical mineral used in electric vehicle batteries and renewable energy storage, is increasingly seen as a strategic resource for Ghana's industrialization ambitions. The Ewoya project, located in the western region, has been closely watched by investors and policymakers alike as the country seeks to diversify its mining sector beyond gold. The revised mining lease incorporates fiscal terms following consultations led by the Minister of Land and Natural Resources with relevant stakeholders, aligning with project royalty rates and growth and sustainability levy with current legislated rates in Ghana. These adjustments reflect Ghana's mining code and are intended to ensure both investor confidence and equitable returns for the state. The minister has also submitted a new legislative instrument, the Minerals and Mining Royalty Regulations 2025, to Parliament, outlining a sliding scale of royalty rates for lithium projects depending on spodumene prices. Under the proposed framework, spodumene priced up to $1,500 per ton attracts a 5% royalty. Prices between $1,501 to $2,500 per ton attract a 7% royalty. The minority in Parliament says partisan government is steadily eroding livelihoods and weakening Ghana's democratic foundations. At a meeting with President John Mahama at the Jubilee House on December 22, the minority caucus presented what it described as a clear and present danger to national stability, constitutional order, and public trust. The concerns were formally delivered by Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, with Minority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre issuing the statement on December 8th. The minority said the issues raised cuts across governance, security, the economy, and rule of law, and require urgent presidential intervention. Central to the concerns is illegal mining. The minority said Galamsey continues to destroy water bodies, forests, and livelihoods, with the situation worsening since January 2025. It's one that weak traceability systems at Gold Board risk turning the state into a buyer of illegally mined gold, effectively legitimizing environmental destruction. The caucus said Ghana cannot become a state-sponsored conduit for illegal gold, and raised doubt about the effectiveness of the Blue Water Guards, citing continued devastation despite their deployment. The minority also raised an alarm over the dismissal of about 2,802 public servants through directives from the Chief of Staff. The caucus further accused the governing party of turning election petitions into political tools. That's how we wrap up with the headlines this morning. For more news, visit our website at www.abcnewsgh.com and follow us on our socials at abcnewsgh_. ABC in the Morning with Abuna Mante comes up next. I am KHADIJAH ISSIFU. Do have a nice day.